All right, the next question that was presented to the panel, this is obviously from a woman's perspective. How do I know if a man is really interested in me? I think this is probably one of the biggest elements of dating that throws people off today, because it's figuring out if someone is interested in you, then figuring out what exactly is that interest. Is this just a social thing to spend some time, to hang out, but there's no real serious end goal? Is this someone who's looking for a partner and really trying to, weed out the various candidates so they could find that person to build a life with? Is this someone just interested in a physical interaction, which many times ends up being the goal and is probably the one that is least directly communicated? I've had this question presented to me before from friends, or, seeing friends and interactions with people and just, looking out for my homegirls and whatnot. And the reality is, very early on in our interactions with people, it's often said that when you date for the first whatever amount of time, you're meeting the representative. You're getting the person, crafted and fully focused on not showing the things that make up who they are on a day-to-day, as far as the bad and the ugly. You're going to get the good. That's what you want everybody to see. But how much time before you actually witness what makes this person, a full entity, good, bad, or otherwise? So I really think the only way you could tell a man's interest in you, I think the number one thing is time, which I feel like a lot of people, our era is not about taking time. We're trying to get what we want to get when we want it, and usually when we want it is right now. Sometimes we don't even know what we want, but we just know we want something now. We don't want to wait. We don't want to invest time. We don't want to build towards that often. So my thing is this. I say that time reveals always. It reveals what people are really interested in. It reveals people's behavioral patterns, and more so than words, and oftentimes more so than just pure action, time and watching those patterns are going to tell you exactly what a person does. Communication. If they say they're gonna call you back at a particular time, are they usually on point with that? If they don't call you back, is it something that's left hanging in the air, or do they call you back, apologize, and give you a reason? So, okay, you know what? Life happened and this person got caught up. They didn't just, disrespect my time totally. As time goes on too, what type of things are you doing? Is there any sort of creativity or real additional effort being put into the time you're spending? Or is it just like, okay, it's Thursday, we go to a movie and that's all you do? Is there, effort being put forward by the guy to find out what you're about? What do you like? What are your hobbies? What are things that necessarily wouldn't be seen or known just running into you on the street that really, that really interests you? So I think you pushing the importance of that and seeing how interested he really is in you beyond a surface physical level is really the best way to do it. One of the things I tell people, and again, it's not about, it's not about giving away game or nothing, but if a guy is really only interested in you on the physical, it's not hard to act like a good guy for a month or two if you're really after that. If let me just wait this out, a couple of weeks, whatever the case may be, and I'm going to get in there, most guys have the capability of doing that. Also, why? Because if he's doing that with you, chances are he's probably got other options going on. That's the other thing when it comes to the interest element, is knowing how many people might be on the back burner or how many other people are engaged in some sort of activity with that person. So it's almost like, okay, I'm throwing the net out there and we'll see which ones bite first, and then you deal with that. So again, I just say time, and it's on you to decide how much time you want to invest in a person to really find out if they're paying attention to you for you. Okay, we're talking about standards now. Is it possible to have too high standards for what you want in a man? I think technically There's no such thing as too high standards. You're allowed to have standards set to any level you want, whether they're realistic, whether they're applicable to the life you live and the people you interact with. That's another topic. You know, can you be at point A and say you want somebody that is a certain number of levels and notches above where you are? Sure, you can. You can aim for that. But then the question becomes, you know, is that something that you actually have access to attaining? Can you get to a person on that level? Is that the type of person you're interacting with now? Like, what is really within your grasp to get? So if you say, you know, you want a person who's got certain things, I think that's your right. That's your right to go after that. But if there's not some level of I don't want to say common sense, but I think it's like if you're 30 plus years old and you wake up one day and say, you know, I want to be a platinum level rapper, but you've never been someone who writes, you've never been someone who's musically inclined, you've never been someone who freestyles, you just kind of woke up and saw it and said you want to do it. You have every right to want that, but within your actual existence, what's the possibility that that's going to happen? I look at it the same way with expectations for people you want to be with socially. If you're saying you want somebody who makes 6 figures and travels the world and has their own home and, you know, all types of things, which many times you hear the standard level, they're very materialistic, but that's another topic. But if you want those things, I then have to ask you, all right, what do you do? Where do you go? Where do you socialize? Who are the people that you currently find yourself around the most? Do any of them approach what it is you're looking for? And if not, what is your plan to get that? Because obviously it's not something that you're just naturally going to come across. So that's where I think the standards issue fall. It's on you to decide what you want, and, you know, then decide how realistic it is that you can get to it. You know, and it's the same thing. I think it's the same thing with men. I mean, you hear men say crazy things. You know, I want a woman who's this height and has these curves, and I mean, I don't know. Everybody says that they want certain things, but then when I look and actually see the people that they end up linking up with, more often than not, they're lacking a ton of things from this supposed list. So who knows? I've had women talk to me very directly about the type of people they want and what it is they're aiming for, and then, you know, next dude that they're with, I'm like, yeah, this doesn't really fall in line with that. But at the same time, you know, chemistry, attraction, emotion, feelings, a lot of those don't subscribe to any of our plans, and they just happen. So, you know, that's the way it goes sometimes.